Hey everyone, welcome back to channel, and today's topic is about the config map with the help of the PostgreSQL. Okay, so we'll quickly understand what is this config map in Kubernetes. Okay, so let's first understand this thing whatever image we use, whether it's suppose this SQL image or any application image, and if you want to deploy into the different environments, so what actually changes? So basically in the dev region, whatever configuration and all you define, it works fine in the development environment. Now if it's time for the production environment, so obviously the database host is going to change, right? So these are the few things which will be changing. So now the question is, for the different environment, are you going to rebuild the Docker image every single time? No, right? We'll be using the single image across all the environments so that it will be like consistent in all the environments. So what is the problem over here? So you will see, for creating for running a Postgres image, you can just define the image and the pod will be there. Okay, but container, for database to run, actually you need few more information like this database name, host, port, or the log label. So where do you define these all values? So that place is basically your config map. Okay, but even you can just define all into a environment variable. Like environment variable, you can just define like this env name value, then name value, like this you can just define the values. Okay, but tomorrow if you are deploying into the production, and in that case your db host gets changed, so again you need to just edit your pod yaml file every time, but that's a kind of tedious task, right? So there is a better way, the what I told, that is the config map. Okay, so kubernetes object that basically stores the configuration from your app separately from your app. So config map is just the same thing which is used to store our configuration of our application. Okay, so instead of a hard coding value like this, we'll be creating a config map like this. So we'll be just providing the key and the value of that, and that config map we can use in our pod. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that, so we'll be first creating a pod. Okay, so let me just open up my terminal. Okay, so here you can just go into the Kubernetes series, cd Kubernetes series, and I can just create a folder like this, config maps. Okay, okay, coffee maps. Okay, that's fine. Vi pod.yaml will do. Let's write API version v1, and is the pod, metadata will be my db, and then you can just define the spec over here with the containers with the name postgres and the image as the postgres 16. I think that's correct image version. Let me just verify once over here. Postgres colon 16, that's completely fine. Okay, so at this moment this pod will not start as it requires some configurations. So what I made a mistake today. Now unable to decode, they cannot enforce listing into post object meta, metadata. Okay, name. Okay, now if I just do the get pods over here, so you will see my db here, and if I just try to show you the logs, kubectl, so you can see it's starting, waiting to start, but it will fail actually. I can just do the describe at this moment, describe pod and the pod name. So you can see it's pulling the image at this moment, so that's why it's not showing any log. Okay, so we'll just wait until it just pulls the image, and even till that moment we'll just see the like what are the configurations required for the Postgres image. We can just do the Postgres image environment variables. Okay, so if you will do this, you will see all these things like user db. These are the optional variables, and here also you can see, yeah, like you need to define the user, db name, password. So we can just define all this information in the config map, but password we usually define into the like secrets. But for today's video we'll just keep into the config map to just for the tutorial purpose. Okay, so let me just show you. So if I just try to again do the kubectl logs, it's pulling the image, I feel. Let me just check. Okay, it's still pulling. Okay, I will just wait for a few seconds or minutes. Okay, now it has pulled. Let's do logs hyphen f. So now you can see database is uninitialized and super user password is not specified. So you must specify this Postgres password. Okay, this is the one parameter, one variable that is required for this image, okay, to run. So what we can do is that along with this, we'll be providing other variables as well, which we have decided over here. Like we can define this Postgres db host, log label. Okay, but that we will define with the help of the config map. So we are going to create a config map in the same way. Okay, so let's just go and we can create a config or cm.yaml. I will just do. Okay, so here you can just give the API version as the v1 for this. Kind will be the config map. Metadata the same, you can define the name over here like dbconf. Then we have what we have over here, we have the data. Okay, and then we will be defining all these things. I will just copy this thing. Okay, and one more thing I'll be defining over here, postgres underscore password. I can just give password as the postgres. I think it's the same variable. Okay, it's a single s. Okay, so now config map is created. I will just do the kubectl apply fnmcm.yaml. Okay, now if you will just do the kubectl get config map over here, so you'll see this dbconf. Okay, and if you want to check the values and all, you can just do the describe dbconf. Okay, so now you will see here db host, there's this log label, postgres db, postgres password is this. Okay, so now it's time to attach this particular config map in your pod.yaml. So that how you're going to do. So for that you have to just see this further. So if I just go into the next slide, so you will see over here you can use env. And what you can do, you can use this there are two ways. Either you can use like this, or even you can use like environment from. There is one more thing, env from, that you can use. So at this moment I will just go with this flow. Okay, if I just try to copy. Okay, and yeah, so I will just scroll a bit down. And here we can just define, oh shit man. Okay, I can just do like this env. Then after that, what we have, you have to define the here name, right? You have to define the not this one, this one. You have to define the name of the variable which you want, and what is the key and value you have configured into the config map. Okay, and this will be the basically the name of your config map. So let me just quickly, I will try to copy here because it's too much big. Yeah, cool. So Postgres DB is done, DB host is done, and one more we will do now is the name, that is the Postgres password, and value from will be the config map name which we have created. So I'll just change that config map. So the config map name which we created was something different, I feel. Okay, I can just give the name over here, dbconf. Dbconf was the name, and key was also the same as the Postgres password. Okay, so now let me just change the other names of Postgres config to dbconf. Okay, that's replaced. And even this envs, so you can just do control v, scroll down, shift I, tab, skip. Okay, cool. So now we're good to go, I think. So let me just save this file and apply this YAML again. Okay, we have got so many request is invalid, valid value. Okay, I think some indentation or some mistake we might have done. Env name value from what is the actual unknown field spec.env. Okay, where I have kept that env. Uh, 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 okay, 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 okay. One more tab we will have to go. Okay, let's just do the control V, shift I, tab, skip. Cool. Now we are good to go. Okay, now why it's coming. Okay, we need to first delete the pod for this. So kubectl delete pod my db, or what was the pod name? Let me just check. Kubectl delete pod, and the pod name we have the mydb. Okay, because we can't change the environment variables in the running pod. Okay, cool. Now it's there. If I do the get pods over here, so now you will see it's running. Even you can check the logs, so you can see the database is running on this. Okay, now we can just go into this particular pod, bin bash. Okay, now if I just do here echo dollar postgres underscore password, you can see this postgres. If we can do psql hyphen u, user will be the postgres, I think. And if I just do over slash c, so you're connected to the postgres db. So these are the things you can see over here. And even if I do the echo dollar whatever the host which we had given, let me just see the config map. And if I again just go, and if I do here echo dollar now db host, you will see the postgres service. And same for the log level, same. Okay, log level. Okay, it's not showing. Okay, it might be some kind of override or something might have happened. Okay, so in this way you can just use the config map. Okay, and there is a one more way to use a config map actually. So if I go into the pod.yaml, and there's a one more way I will just show you. If you just type here env from config map, yeah, I have already searched for it. Okay, So this also you can use. So if you have created a config map, so you can write like this env from and just the config map ref and the name of your config map. So that what will happen, you don't need to define all these particular each values, okay, or each configuration value. So what I will do, I'll just delete this pod. Okay, pod is deleting. Let's wait. Okay, so here you can just delete these all things and config map ref we just need. Okay, I will just uh, okay, here you can just define the env from and config map ref and the name of your config map, that is the db conf. I think we are correct. Let me just check here. Ah, fine. So let's just do kubectl apply hyphen f pod.yaml. Okay, env from resource container.spec containers.env from tab e1. Okay, it's bad request showing. Okay, I think we have to define it over. Oh no, we are correct only. Env from. Okay, okay. One more mistake we did. It will be as a list. So now it's fine, I feel. Yeah, good. So if I just do the get pods, so you will see here my db and it's running perfectly fine. There is no issue with this. Yeah, you can see over here. Okay, and one more thing you have to remember with respect to the config map is that if you are updating the config map, okay, in the running application, then you need to what we can say, you need to redeploy your deployment things so that it will take the actual values, the updated values. Okay, so this we have verified already. Okay, and yeah, there's also nothing required. So another way is there, like you can just use the kubectl create command. With that also you can just create a config map. So that's for the quick testing and all. Okay, so quick recap. So we have a separate configuration from the application and we use the same image, and you can change the configuration without rebuilding the image. Okay, so the practice task for you is that you have to create the config map in which these things will be there and you have to inject into the pod. And the challenge is that after apply the config map again, like you have to change this thing. You can use any variable, okay, and does the running pod immediately pick up the new value? If not, why? This you have to find out. Okay, and that we'll see in the next video. Okay, so this is the one, instead of your postgres pod, what you can do, you can connect to a spring boot application, whatever. If you have any microservice using this postgres, so with that you can just try it out. So yeah, that's it for this particular video, guys, and I will see you in the next one with the secrets. Okay, so thank you so much, and see you in the next one.